Albert finally crossed paths with the new housekeeper, who had been taking care of his home for a few weeks. When his eyes landed on her, something unexpected happened. His heart raced as he recognized the delicate necklace hanging around her neck. That necklace, a piece he never expected to see again, carried deep and painful memories of a lost love. It was impossible for the necklace to have reappeared in his life, especially around the neck of a stranger. Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is Linda's Love Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. Claire took a deep breath before opening the side gate of the imposing 2-story house. It was her first day as a cleaner, and she was determined to make a good impression, even though it seemed she wouldn't meet the homeowner. Following the instructions from the employment agency, she located the key hidden under a plant pot and unlocked the back door. Upon entering the impeccably clean kitchen, Claire immediately noticed a note on the table. She approached it and read the meticulously detailed instructions left by Albert, the mysterious owner. The text specified exactly which tasks should be performed in each room, as well as the cleaning products to be used. Claire smiled, amused by the excessively methodical nature of the note. However, as she continued reading, her smile faded. The instructions were extremely strict, warning her to avoid any noise if Albert was working from home. She was to move silently and not use noisy equipment such as a vacuum cleaner on those occasions. Determined to meet the expectations, Claire began her work. In the days and weeks that followed, she strictly adhered to the established routine, cleaning every corner of the house with care. To her surprise, she never got to meet Albert in person. It was as if she was taking care of a ghost house, inhabited only by written instructions and carefully arranged personal objects. One day, Claire received a request for help from her Aunt Isabel, who was moving. Happy to be able to return the affection of the aunt who always supported her, Claire promptly offered to help with the organisation. While helping Isabel empty the wardrobe, a small box slipped and fell to the floor, opening upon impact. From inside, a delicate silver necklace with a heart-shaped pendant rolled out. Claire picked it up, admiring its beauty. "Aunt, what a beautiful necklace. How come I've never seen you wearing it?" asked Claire, curious. Isabel sighed deeply, her eyes momentarily lost in distant memories. "Ah, dear. This necklace is part of my past, a story left behind." Claire noticed the melancholy in her aunt's eyes. "It must be something special for you to have kept it for so long." Isabel nodded slightly. "Yes, it was. But maybe it's time to move on." She looked at her niece with affection. "Do you want to keep it, Claire? I think it would look beautiful on you." Claire hesitated. "Are you sure, Aunt? It seems like this necklace means a lot to you." "Yes, I do, dear. It'll be nice to know that you're with someone I love." Isabel smiled, but Claire noticed a glimmer of sadness in her eyes. Accepting the gift, Claire hugged her aunt, feeling that there was much more to the story than Isabel was willing to share at that moment. A few weeks later, on a Friday, Claire arrived at Albert's house for another day of work. This time, however, she had a date with her boyfriend right after finishing her tasks. Since she had never met the homeowner, Claire thought it wouldn't be an issue to take a shower there before heading out. She brought a backpack with a pretty dress and decided to wear the necklace Isabel had given her. After completing all her chores, cleaning every room, washing and ironing the clothes, tending to the garden and even preparing dinner, Claire got ready to freshen up. Confident that she was alone as always, she turned on some lively music at full volume. She went into the bathroom to take a shower, humming cheerfully. Upon exiting, wrapped in a towel and with Isabel's necklace around her neck, Claire headed to the guest room where she had left her dress. To her shock and embarrassment as she opened the door to the room, she was met with the sight of a middle-aged man, Albert, the owner of the house. He seemed equally surprised to see her. Claire immediately realised her mistake. The loud music had prevented her from hearing his arrival. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry!" Claire exclaimed, mortified. She noticed that Albert's gaze was fixed on the necklace around her neck, an expression of astonishment on his face. Without saying a word, Albert turned and quickly left the room, closing the door firmly behind him. Claire, still in shock, hurried to get dressed, certain that she would be fired after this embarrassing incident. To her surprise, the following Monday, Claire didn't find a resignation letter, but rather Albert himself waiting for her in the kitchen. She prepared to apologise again, but before she could speak, Albert interrupted her. "Miss Claire, I should be the one apologising for what happened on Friday," he said, his voice calm but tense. "I wasn't looking at you inappropriately. I was surprised by the necklace you were wearing." Claire, confused, instinctively touched the necklace. "This necklace? It was a gift from my Aunt Isabel." Upon hearing the name, Albert visibly paled. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but then seemed to change his mind. "I understand," he said finally. "Well, have a good day at work, Miss Claire. I have to go." With that, he left hurriedly, leaving Claire intrigued and worried. That night, she decided to visit her aunt and tell her what had happened. Isabel listened attentively to her niece's account, her expression changing upon hearing Albert's name. When Claire finished, Isabel took a deep breath and said, "I think the time has come to tell you the story of this necklace, my dear." Isabel began recounting events from more than 10 years ago. At that time, she was a young intern transferred to a new department in a large company. It was there that she met Albert, a more experienced employee. Working together, they developed a special connection that soon turned into a secret romance. "The company had a strict policy against relationships between employees," explained Isabel. "So, we kept everything a secret. As I advanced in the company, our relationship also deepened." Isabel recounted how Albert gave her the necklace as a present, choosing it instead of a ring so as not to raise suspicion. "He wanted a future with me, Claire. One day he suggested we tell our superiors about our relationship, hoping the company's policy might change." Isabel's voice trembled slightly. "But I said I wasn't willing to risk my career. I was cruel, Claire. I told him that a promotion was more important to me than our relationship." Claire listened in silence, feeling the pain in her aunt's words. "Albert was devastated," Isabel continued. "He broke up with me and, a few days later, resigned. I never saw him again after that." Isabel looked at her niece with tearful eyes. "You know, Claire, I kept this necklace all these years, hoping to have the chance to one day apologise to Albert. But I always felt that I didn't have the right, not after choosing my career over him." Claire hugged her aunt, processing everything she had heard. "Auntie, from the way Albert reacted upon seeing the necklace, I think he hasn't forgotten you either," she said gently. "Maybe there's still time to make the right choice this time." With a loving gesture, Claire took the necklace from her own neck and placed it back around Isabel's neck, smiling as she did so. "I think this necklace always belonged to you," Claire concluded, offering her aunt a chance to reconnect with her lost love. Encouraged by her niece's words, Isabel decided that it was time to face her past. The next day, gathering all her courage, she made her way to Albert's house. Standing in front of the door, Isabel hesitated for a moment before ringing the doorbell. Her heart was racing as she waited, uncertain of how she would be received. When the door opened, revealing Albert, they both remained silent for a few seconds, absorbing the sight of each other after so many years. "Isabel?" Albert finally broke the silence, his voice a mixture of surprise and restrained emotion. "Hello, Albert," Isabel responded softly. I was hoping we could talk. If you're willing, of course." Albert seemed to consider for a moment before stepping aside, silently inviting her in. Isabel followed him to the living room, noticing how the decor reflected the organised and methodical personality she remembered. Sitting face to face, the silence weighed between them for a few moments. "I saw the necklace," Albert finally said. "Claire was wearing it." Isabel nodded and with a gentle gesture pulled the necklace out from her blouse, revealing it on her neck. "Yes, I gave it to her recently," replied Isabel, as her fingers touched the pendant delicately. "But now I have it again, where it always should have been." Isabel paused, looking at Albert sincerely. Albert, I'm sorry. For everything. The words seemed inadequate to express years of regret, but it was a start. Albert watched her intently, his eyes fixed on the necklace on her neck, his face a mask of restrained emotions. Why now, Isabel? After all this time? He asked, his voice calm but laden with emotion. Isabel took a deep breath. Because I never stopped regretting the choice I made. I spent years wishing I could go back, tell you that I was wrong to put my career above what we had. She paused, gathering the courage to continue. I understand if it's too late, if you can't forgive me. But I needed you to know how much I regret and how sorry I am for hurting you. Albert remained silent for a long moment, his eyes never leaving Isabel's. Finally he spoke, his voice gentle. You know, Isabel, for a long time I carried anger and hurt. But as the years passed, I realized that this bitterness was consuming me. He leaned forward slightly. I won't lie and say it was easy to get over, but I learned to forgive. Not just you, but myself too, for not fighting harder for what we had. Isabel felt tears forming in her eyes. Do you really forgive me? Albert nodded slowly. Yes, Isabel. Life is too short to hold on to grudges. And seeing the necklace again, well, it made me realize that some memories are too precious to be tainted by bitterness. A small smile appeared on Isabel's lips. Thank you, Albert. This means more to me than you can imagine. They continued talking, years of silence being filled with stories of their lives, occasional laughter, and sometimes moments of quiet reflection. As the afternoon progressed, they both felt a familiar connection rekindling, though tempered by the maturity and experiences of the years that had passed. When the time finally came for Isabel to leave, they stood up, a sense of reluctance lingering between them. That was nice, Albert said, his tone lighter than it had been all afternoon. Isabel nodded with a smile. Yes, it was. Maybe we can do this again sometime. Albert seemed to consider for a moment before replying with a slight smile. I would like that. Then, with a mischievous sparkle in his eyes that Isabel hadn't seen in years, he added, Just out of curiosity, where are you working currently? Isabel laughed, understanding the joke. Don't worry, Albert. There's no risk of repeating the same situation. I have my own business now. They shared another laugh before saying their goodbyes, the promise of a new beginning hanging in the air between them. As Isabel walked back home, she reflected on how a simple choice made years ago had shaped so much of her life. She thought about Claire, about how the innocent gesture of wearing the necklace had inadvertently opened the door to this reconciliation. Isabel smiled to herself, grateful for the second chance she was given. She knew the future was uncertain, but she was determined not to make the same mistake twice. This time she would choose what truly mattered, the connections and relationships that give life meaning, above any professional success or personal ambition. After the reunion, Isabel and Albert began to meet regularly, rediscovering the connection they once shared. Time passed and gradually, the affection they felt for each other blossomed again, now strengthened by maturity and the experiences life had given them. One sunny afternoon, while strolling through the park that had become one of their favourite places, Albert, with a sparkle in his eyes, took Isabel's hand and said, We missed the chance once, but I'm not going to make the same mistake again. Isabel, would you give me a new chance to build a future together? With tears in her eyes and a sincere smile, Isabel replied, Yes, Albert. Let's start over, and this time the right way. They embraced, knowing that true love, though dormant for years, had finally found its way back. The story of Isabel and Albert serves as a powerful reminder that our choices always have consequences, and what we prioritize in the present inevitably shapes our future. Sometimes it is necessary to lose something precious to truly understand its value. But with courage, honesty, and the willingness to face our past mistakes, there is always the possibility of redemption and a new beginning. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you liked the story. Also, watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.